And either way, you guys are getting a timing chain video. Welcome back to the Lost Cause Ranch. Last video, we stuffed the free LR4 into the weeds. We kind of got a few rovers in the weeds. But yes, this is the LR4 that was offered to us here at the Lost Cause Ranch for free, and it is the one that we use the budget overland LR4 to trailer all the way from Tennessee back to Iowa. Well, I guess we got to add a little excitement to everything around here. And now we have a dead cluster. Last video, we got this thing fired up and asked your opinion on what we should do with it, and we have that narrowed down. We'll get into how you can help with that later on in the video. But first, today, we need to figure out exactly what we're working with, and that means getting Merlin here all cleaned up so we can see the real condition of this 180,000 mile LR4. And as you guys know, the timing chain's bit of a ticking time bomb, but we're gonna risk it and fire it up to get this guy sprayed off and tucked away into the shop. Wish me luck, because I probably should just not start it up again. Not really smart. So we'll go over the plan of attack and what needs to happen to Merlin to make that plan work in just a second. But before that, we have about 180,000 miles worth of grime and dirt on the front of this engine that I'd like to clean off before tearing into it. You know, a guy built a brand new shop, has a super nice electric pressure washing setup, but no water in the shop. So we'll do this. I should change that. I suppose, since it's not the electric one, it needs gas. Well, here's to hoping Merlin has one last start in him. Decided to do a little rearranging and sprayed off the old 951 and the Fun 10. This is the one we fixed up after we got it not running. Wheel kind of fell off when we did that. You should always check to make sure the front wheel is on, but I think the old three-wheeler may be going down the road. In the last video, you guys helped tremendously in deciding what to do with Merlin here. There was one option that was bouncing around in my head that I didn't mention in the last video, and that was to keep Merlin and sell the silver LR4 and essentially replicate what we did with the budget LR4 onto this beautiful black one. Silver one has 104,000 miles now. It's worth considerably more money than a 180,000 mile one, especially since the silver one has had the timing chains done already and a new alternator. The miles don't scare me, so I'd have no issue running Merlin around at 183,000 miles, and we'd be able to go through and get all the maintenance up to date. But there's one problem with that. The silver LR4 is loaded up. It has the luxury package, vision assist package with all the extra cameras, automatic high beams, but most importantly, the silver LR4 has the HD package with the rear locking differential. Merlin, unfortunately, does not. So that threw that option out of the window, so I didn't bother mentioning it. But with your guys' input and help in deciding, we landed on getting Merlin back on the road and selling it and splitting the money three ways. The three ways ways are a charitable organization, additional proceeds back to the family that offered Merlin up to us. And then third is just gonna be to recoup my expenses into the project. I'm not looking to make money out of it. I just don't wanna lose money doing it. I lose enough money as it is without trying. So we'll take my cost in it minus the ad revenue from all of these videos out of the equation, then we'll split the rest of it between the other two. And I'll need your help with that later in the video. Now that we know we are gonna sell the LR4, you're gonna get a peek into how we used to decide what way to go with the vehicles we took in or received at the old dealership. Essentially today we're gonna find out, are we gonna wholesale Merlin out or are we gonna retail Merlin? There's a few factors that play into that. So first step is to get this all cleaned up with a little bit of a detail so we know what we're working with. Whether it gets wholesaled or retailed, it's obviously gonna have to be detailed either way. So we start with that to give us a baseline, and that lets us decide, is it worth taking it all the way or just kicking it to an auction or somewhere in between? Luckily enough, we were able to talk to the previous owners on this one, which did not always happen when we were sourcing cars before. So we do have a little bit of background. We do know Merlin needs tires. We do know Merlin needs timing chains. But we also know Merlin had a recent water pump, a recent battery, recent brakes, a recent alternator, but we all know where that went. The other nice thing that's gonna save us some money and is usually unknown after sitting and picking one of these up, the air suspension is fully functional and has held on its own, parked for a week. So we're good there, but we were informed that the front control arm bushings are no good. So even though this needs chains and we're not able to drive it, it is nice to be able to talk to the previous family, get a pretty good rundown and feel of what this guy needs. So we do have a little more info than we normally would, which is very helpful. If we wholesale it, tires don't matter. You don't get your full return on that investment, so we wouldn't do those. But either way, the first thing we're gonna do is to take care of the headlights on this one, mainly one of the headlights. Having a single one replaced is a surefire way to make it look like it's been in an accident before. That's never good. We are much closer in matching side to side. So now that one being replaced is not quite as obvious. All right, now that we got the headlights sorted out and matching better, it looks less like it's had previous damage. We're gonna do a cursory paint correction on it and try and get rid of the various scratches. There's some light scuffs and stuff that will go away. There's some that'll lighten up, and there's some that are in there and we can't do anything about. But we're gonna bring it back to life, including hopefully the roof. It's an LR4 thing. It's oxidized. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, that just made my decision harder. The paint on old Merlin came back to life in fairly short order, and it looks pretty frickin' nice for a 13-year-old, 183,000 mile vehicle. We still gotta knock out the interior, but before doing this, I was kinda leaning on the wholesale side of things, but it's coming out pretty nice. And it might be something that would make someone a great vehicle. So that's a tough call. But I want your opinion on what way we should go. And we'll get into the numbers after getting the inside cleaned out and getting a full look at the condition of this. Because there is quite a bit more money that needs to be spent if we retail it versus wholesale it. And at the end of the day, we're trying to maximize the benefit of this thing, so the numbers do matter. Before we clean out the interior, I need some air. So I suppose it's finally time to wire this guy up. Really good at procrastinating. Also, temperature-wise, this time of year is rough. Seem to have to switch between sweatshirt and no sweatshirt constantly. This is from pulling it out of the old shop. So we just need to chop this down. We already have the wires ran from the panel here, so it should only take a few minutes. There goes nothing. I suppose we should probably have an air hose as well. Well, that's a nice little feature to have back in the shop, functioning. We will pipe the shop with something like rapid air, but hardline it throughout the shop, but I'm gonna wait until the spray foam's up. So we just have a hose for now, kicking it old school. I've never actually seen one of these before, It's like a little insert to go in the door handle. Crap trap. That little steamer there is definitely my favorite way to get rubber floor mats clean. The heat definitely loosens up all the gunk. So I think Merlin came out pretty nice. 13 years old, 183,000 miles. The thing is in above average condition. That makes the next decision tougher than I thought it would be. So I'd like to know your opinion on the matter as well. We're gonna do our three-way split via selling the LR4. But going in, I thought it was a good wholesale candidate, but it might just be too nice to do that. The interior came out awfully clean. The paint came back alive as well. So now we have a dilemma. If we go the wholesale route, we just need to fix the timing chains, putting tires, control arms, and everything else on it is not gonna give us a 1-to-1 or better than 1-to-1 return on our money, so we would not do that. But if we retail it, put a set of tires on it, and if I'm putting a set of tires on it, I'm gonna put a set of oversized tires on it, along with some lift rods, because we just can't leave anything alone around here. Then we would need to replace the front control arms, along with a brand new alternator, since we robbed that for the silver one. That with $500 in miscellaneous incidentals that I'm sure will pop up, we'd be looking at having to spend an additional $2,900 to retail it, plus the time invested. I'm not sure if that pencils out in making sense. We obviously have enough to do around here that the time is valuable. So what do you guys think? Are we better off wholesaling it? The benefit of wholesaling it is just chains. And on the alternator, my old one off the silver one functions fine. It was just the clutch decoupler pulley. So we could just get a new pulley. If we were retailing it, I'd put a new complete unit on and I wouldn't send it out that way. But wholesaling's a different story. And on the wholesale side of the market, we are in the Midwest and we're coming up on winter in which four-wheel drive vehicles command a premium on that end. So if we can get it out in the next month or so, we'll time the market well. So retail, wholesale, what do you guys think? And what type of charity or foundation do you think would make a good fit for the donation? Like I said in the last video, it is a 183,000 mile LR4. By the time we cover expenses and everything, it's not gonna be anything huge, but I do want to give back whatever it ends up being. The family who hooked us up with Merlin is in the woodworking space. And they suggested maybe some sort of conservation or tree replanting foundation. I do like that. We also have Sasha and previously Honey on the channel, who are both rescue dogs. So that's close to my heart as well. We have a few shelters in town that we could donate, and maybe we could split it between the two. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think down below. If you're enjoying this little process and what to do with the free LR4, give us a like. And either way, you guys are getting a timing chain video. Wholesale, retail, getting the chains done. So that will be the next video on Merlin. Especially nice, now that we got the engine bay cleaned up. I want to keep my hands clean. But we will see you on the next video. We got some boxes for the LS3 Defender. They're kind of poking there, so we'll be back on that. And in three-wheeler update, it found a new home. Kind of sad, that thing was a blast this summer, but we're trying to clean up around here. I was gonna let the 944 go as well, but then after firing it up, not so sure about that.